Hey, what's up guys? Node Investor here. Time for a market update, quick look at BTC, a handful of the alts that are moving, holding up better, and some things to watch for here in the near term. What are the key levels that I'm watching? How am I trading this? It's been pretty choppy the last few days. Going over the weekend was actually relatively quiet, which I did not mind one bit, and we're starting to see a little bit of action here coming in yesterday. Things were selling off, bouncing back pretty nicely today. So what is the deal? Where do we go from here? Let's take a quick look at the charts. First off, looking at BTC here on the USD dollar, the Coinbase exchange, USD dollar. The daily chart is what I meant to say. And there's a couple of things that I'm watching here. First and foremost, it's important to make note of the big picture. And if we notice the big picture here, during this recent sell-off, which, comparatively speaking to the move up, was relatively mild. But during this recent sell-off, notice that we were not able to close much below this 10 EMA. The 22 EMA is now catching up right around 48.25, and prices have just kind of been choppy, finding a little bit of support here near term. Now, volume on the upside hasn't been particularly strong, but it is important to note that the uptrend remains in place. Prices are finding support in and around these moving average pairs. Now that 48.25 is the new support with the EMA, that's the level I'm looking at as far as some downside support if we continue to drop lower. But for now, prices are holding up, and that's important to note because it just goes to show you the strength of the buyers buying the dips, showing up when prices look like they're about to roll over. If we go to the 4-hour view here, looking at this, you can see how choppy it has been over the weekend. We saw that big sell-off here a few days back, bouncing right back, and then here we go. Yesterday was looking like it was about to roll over, and today, quick move back above this resistance here, negating yesterday's sell-off pressure, and now we're looking at a retest, most recent resistance around 5,400, and that's really the next upside target to be watching. On the downside, that 5,000 psychological level really just continues to be that area to be watching here. On a closing basis, we haven't seen it get much below 5,020, but really it's been poked through a few times, but really 5K is really that level that continues to be defended. And so on the downside, that's really the first level that I'm watching here. If things continue to roll over 5K, break below that, we'll likely see a retest of that 4,800 level. But for now, things are leaning a little bit more positive after recovering from yesterday's little bit of a dip. And like I mentioned, if you go out to the bigger time frames, still holding above the 10 EMA, which is positive, very important. And now today closing above these prior 2 days here, the highs of those 2 days. So good news all around for the bulls. A couple of items on the big picture alts. If we look at ETH BTC first, I'll take a look at the USD chart here shortly, but ETH BTC, and I posted this chart here in the Slack group, marked it up, kind of pointing out just how it's been lagging here. This is the daily chart, and it was forming this symmetrical pattern, had the potential to break to the upside, rolled over, looked like it was maybe going to push higher, and since been pulling back. Do we get a double bottom here? That's what I'm watching out for now, testing that support that we saw at the beginning of April, seeing if we can find some support here again and start bouncing. But until it can close above that 3,400 level on the BTC pair, it's just not going to look positive. So it really needs to turn the corner, start closing above that, and above that point, then we could really get some momentum, test that declining trend line again. A close above that declining trend line would really start to turn the picture positive and likely give a little bit of boost to the overall altcoin market. Right now, ETH is just continuing to lag versus Bitcoin. But if we look at it from the USD side, it's still holding up well, it's trending higher, and you could argue that this is a little bit of a throwback in the big picture of this ascending triangle base. It has broken out here, testing it again, finding some support at the EMA pairs. And so from this perspective, looking positive. If Bitcoin continues to push higher, retests that 5,400 and breaks out, then this will also bode well, and you could still see $200 ETH in that scenario. But I'd like to see it start outperforming on the BTC pair. Looking at Cardano BTC first. On the Binance, we are continuing to pull back. It is chopping around a little bit here at this 22 EMA, not turning the corner yet. I really like to see it get back above these moving averages and start to turn the corner. But on the USD side, it is looking positive. I'm absolutely keeping an eye on it from this perspective. I posted this out on Twitter just a little while ago saying this has really been pulling back, forming a little bit of a bullish pattern, a nice little bull flag if you want to call it that. Really the thing to watch is, does support continue to show up at this moving average, which has been the case so far, and ultimately got to close above that declining trend line resistance. And I'd like to see some volume come in to help confirm that. You can see during this consolidation, the volume's been drying up, which is positive, which is what you generally want to see on a pullback. But of course, it's got to confirm now by pushing through and showing some buying volume coming in. So that's really what I'm watching. Cardano, USD Tether is looking positive from that perspective. Manero. So this is the 4-hour view of Manero BTC. And again, similar to that Cardano view that I was showing, right? This trend line that I've been watching has been an area of resistance. It did start to find some support here around that 12.6, and now it's starting to push higher above that trend line resistance. So that's positive. Again, the volume is not as strong as I would like to see, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one, see if we can get a throwback and then a higher volume push to the upside. But Manero is definitely one to be watching here. Bitcoin Cash made for a nice trade yesterday in light of the whole drama, the debacle, the delistings for SV and all that stuff. But nonetheless, it was on the radar before all that happened, just because from a technical perspective was finally turning the corner, had cleared some resistance on Sunday night. Again, and this is one I posted to the group here, pulled back a little bit and then made for a very quick 10% move to the upside. Scaled out of that, took some quick profits. I was expecting a pullback. It basically fully retraced. I reloaded there, and so I'm still long on this one, looking for a break above this prior high, which is around that 340 level. Above that, you can see a pretty decent move to the upside. So that's what I'm going to be watching here on the BTC pair. Looks like it's forming a little bit of a bull flag, coming right back to that 10 EMA and holding up above this breakout point. So looking positive from that perspective. And really the same approach here. If it can take out this prior high that it made here back in early April, then I'm looking for another leg to the upside. So BCH still definitely one to be watching here in the near term. Let's take a quick look at some of the items here on the Node Insiders alerts. And quickly, before I forget, for those of you that are in the Slack group, we have kicked off the private channels again, looking for that. That basically started immediately, so send me a message if you're interested in that. I'll send you the link to this page and you can sign up there. Going back to the alerts here, looking at some of these names, Theta's been on the move here. Manero, we just looked at a few others. Bitcoin Cash SV, oversold. Not going to touch that one at the moment. Basic Attention has been showing some good relative strength. Let's go take a look at that one here real quick. Looking at BAT USD Tether first. You can see on the 4-hour view, this is really just starting to test some resistance, essentially looking like it wants to break out here, really pushing higher. And look at the volume here. The volume is really starting to show some positive action coming in here as it pushes higher. Looking at it from the daily chart, you can see it's been in a nice strong uptrend anyway. Looking at it from the BTC pair, this did hit the radar over the weekend as it had that big push higher here a couple days back. Reverse, held at the moving averages, and today looks like it's trying to get going again. So Basic Attention back on the radar, see how high it can go. First major target is going to be this prior resistance level here from current prices. That's looking like another 12-13% up, and then we'll see where it goes from there. What else was on the list? Theta was the other one. Theta, big picture, potentially turning the corner here on this daily. It did have that very strong move in February and March and has since just been grinding lower, fully retracing, finding some support here at that prior level that it found in February. And in the very short term, looks like maybe it's getting a little bit of a bid. Has yet to really confirm on the daily chart. On the daily chart, really needs to start closing above some of this resistance here in the near term. But if we zoom in and look at some of the shorter term time frames, certainly there is some reversal action happening here, and you can argue that this is setting up for a little bit of a breakout above resistance. So one I'll be watching here. Again, this is a smaller cap name, can certainly be a lot more volatile. You can see just by looking at the chart, the big ups and downs, very spiky big wicks, and so a lot tougher to trade these names just due to the lower liquidity. But in the big picture, potentially turning the corner here. Let's see what else is on the watch list. This is the automated watch list on the Node Insider's site. So we looked at basic attention. IOTX has been one of the leaders as of late. Manero, Bitcoin Cash, a few other small cap names. So not a whole lot on the list right now. Generally, when the market's in consolidation mode, correction mode, however you want to call it, this list does get pretty small, and it's usually a bunch of small cap names. When it's dominated by some of the bigger cap names, when you start seeing ETH and Litecoin and EOS and some of those names showing up here, just goes to show you the overall depth of the market. And right now, we're just not getting that. And so let's go back to BTC here before we wrap it up. Again, looking at the big picture here today, nice reversal. Really liking the fact that it cleared yesterday's highs, the weekend highs. That was a big win for the bulls. It looked like it was about to roll over here. 5K was really the key support that needed to hold. It did. It did drop below briefly, undercut it, came right back. And then I was actually looking for a bear flag bounce. I was watching this little bounce here. It looks like it was about to roll over. Today it had a good chance to do that. The selling pressure came in, was quickly bought back up, and then broke out higher. So all in all, things are looking positive. Again, the big picture still holding above key moving averages on the daily chart. And so we're still just kind of range bound consolidating, but for now, good win for the bulls. 5K at this point must hold. If it starts to drop 5K, you could see a quick spike down to about 4,800. So those are the levels I'm watching. We'll see how things turn out over the next few days. Just wanted to bring that update. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to drop a line here or reach out to me on Twitter. Until next time, take care, everyone.